Hey guys, it's Neat2 up here, and welcome back to Black Dude Reviews, a show hosted by a black dude who's never been more excited about the new year even though this video is being written about a month in advance. Today we will be reviewing Mega Man 3 for the NES. Mega Man has always been a near and dear game to my heart because it helped me to become as dedicated and as passionate to gaming as I currently am. So we're currently doing a retrospective of the NES Mega Man games with the new gen Mega Man games to hopefully follow. Mega Man 3 is not only one of my favorite Mega Man games, but one of my favorite NES games, period. The title screen may not be much, but the music in the title screen definitely is. If you look in the game's manual, you'll find the story for this game. In Mega Man 3, Dr. Wily has gone to the good side to help Dr. Light in making a peacekeeping robot by the name of Gamma. In order for Gamma to be finished, Mega Man must travel to 8 different planets to retrieve a crystal from each of the planet's robot masters to power up Gamma. And so we start the game. This game carries on the trend for Mega Man 2 of there being a password system and 8 bosses. Of the 8, I started with Top Man stage because he has my favorite weapon in the game, Top Spin. Top Spin may seem to be a pretty bizarre weapon, as you have to make contact with an enemy while you're in your spinning state in order to either do damage to the enemy or outright kill it. Top Spin does require a bit of trial and error to know when to properly use it, but it truly is a very fun weapon to use if you know how to use it. The best enemies to use Top Spin on are enemies that go down in one hit with it. If an enemy takes more than one hit from top in order for it to die, I wouldn't bother using Top Spin on it. This is why I don't use Top Spin on Shadow Man, even though I know he's weak to it. One complaint I have with this weapon is that its ammo consumption can be very inconsistent at times. You'll especially encounter this problem when you try to use it on Shadow Man. But again, Top Spin is still very fun to use. I also like how Mega looks like when he transitions screens when Top Spin is in use, especially through boss doors. I love Top Spin almost as much as I love Metal Blade from Mega Man 2. But that's enough of me worshipping Top Spin. The other weapons in this game are pretty cool too, like Gemini Laser, which is able to bounce off walls, Shadow Blade, which can shoot in 5 directions, Neo Cannon, which is like a rapid fire gun if you hold down the button, and I find Magnet Missile to be pretty useful too. The initial 8 stages in this game aren't super bad, though the end portion of Sparkman stage is pretty scary for me. It's the part after the initial 8 stages where people love to hate Mega Man 3. Welcome to the Doc Robot levels. You must revisit Shadow Man stage, Needle Man stage, Gemini Man stage, and Sparkman stage, but this time the stages are made a little harder. And this time there's a new boss in these stages called Doc Robot, whom you have to fight twice in every stage. And in every encounter, he copies the moveset of one of the 8 previous bosses from Mega Man 2. Some of the bosses from Mega Man 2 are made harder, and some of the bosses are made easier. Quick Man from Mega Man 2 jumps 3 times, then runs. The reason why it looks like he jumps less times than he actually does is due to collision detection errors, but that's a talk for another time. But in Mega Man 3, he can jump up to 3 times. In Mega Man 2, you could shoot through Woodman's leaf shield, but in Mega Man 3, you can't do that anymore. In Mega Man 2, Bubble Man doesn't wait for you to reach the ground before making his next move, but in Mega Man 3 he does, and you can exploit this by using Rush Jet. In Mega Man 2, Crash Man usually attacks when you do, but in Mega Man 3 he jumps on his own a lot more often. I also forgot to mention that this game adds Mega Man's faithful dog Rush, who comes in 3 forms: Rush Coil, Rush Jet, and Rush Marine. Rush Jet is by far the best Rush utility in the game, possibly the best utility in the game, period. You can make it fly wherever you want it to go, and if you jump on it constantly, you can decrease the amount of ammo Rush Jet uses up by a lot, as it'll only deplete when Mega Man is physically on top of him. Also, a cool glitch that I like to do with Rush is to shoot an enemy or boss with Rush equipped, then immediately switch to another weapon so that those pre-existing bullets acquire that weapon's power, meaning that they will do as much damage to that boss or enemy as that weapon does to that same boss or enemy. Also, Mega Man can slide now, making for much quicker progression through stages. But anyways, after the Doc Robot stages, we fight Breakman, who's pitifully easy to beat. After defeating Breakman, Dr. Light tells us that Wily ran away with Gamma after obtaining the last crystal, leading us into the Wily stages. The Wily stages in this game compared to the Wily stages back in Mega Man 2 are super light. In the second Wily stage, we fight Yellow Devil Mark II, an easier, slower rendition of the Yellow Devil back in Mega Man 1. What makes it even easier is the fact that this game brings back E-Tanks, and also the fact that this game is super generous to the player in the Wily stages for some reason. Not complaining! Wily Stage 4 is the stage containing the boss rush, designed the same way as the boss rush in Mega Man 2 was designed. And each of these capsules is one of the initial 8 bosses. After beating them all, we go to Wily Stage 5, where we fight Wily Machine 3. After beating Wily Machine 3, and after discovering this Wily to be a decoy, we go to Wily Stage 6, where we fight Gamma. You can tell it's Gamma because he has the Greek letter on his forehead. Gamma has 2 forms. The first form is immune to the Mega Buster, but you can hit it with either Shadow Blade or Hard Knuckle. After defeating the first form and after using that rush glitch on the second form, we beat the game. We then get to know the name of this robot that we kept running into. His name is Proto Man, Mega Man's older brother. So that's Mega Man 3. I personally really like this game, but just like a lot of video games back then, it did have its fair share of problems. For starters, in the stage select, there's a bit of clashing on the right side of the screen. The way that the screen transitions to the stage select might have something to do with this, but it still doesn't look great, but this is a very minor nitpick. Also, this game struggles a bit with slowdown. Sometimes it can make parts of the game easier like Dot Quick Man, but other times it can just be annoying. The one improvement from Mega Man 2 is that this game doesn't struggle with sprite flickering that much. It still is a problem here and there, but it's not as bad as it was in 2. And the backgrounds of this game are pretty unique and well done. You can tell the devs were really mastering how to make great, memorable, good-looking, timeless games for this console, after having made 2 Mega Man games already. However, the Mega Man games were not the only NES games Capcom was making. Anyways, I think the bosses, backgrounds, foregrounds, and the enemies in this game look really nice and polished. Now it's time to address the elephant in the room: this game's difficulty. Now, as much as I like this game, I'll have to admit that this game is pretty hard. I'd say that this game is even harder than Mega Man 1. And I don't know about you, but I feel like the Doc Robot stages are overhated. Yes, the stages are pretty flippin' hard, and Doc Robot himself can be pretty flippin' hard too, with his big hitbox and also with his insane contact damage from getting hit by him in certain fights, but I personally find these stages to be one of the most enjoyable and unique parts of the game. When I first played this game, I honestly thought it was a pretty cool idea to refight the bosses from Mega Man 2, even though I did realize how much harder some of the bosses became, especially when I was fighting Doc Quick. But one thing I find annoying about this game's difficulty is that either the stage is really difficult, or the boss is really difficult, or neither. It's never both. For example, I find Sparkman's stage to be pretty hard, but Sparkman himself is a walk in the park. For me. I also find Shadow Man's stage to be light work, but Shadow Man himself is pretty hard. For me. In my first session of recording footage for this review, I was barely able to beat him. I personally do not think that kind of difficulty is balanced and would prefer if both the stage and the boss were both really hard, especially in the Doc Robot stages. Again, that's just me. This is my review, and I don't speak for all players. Mega Man's arsenal of weapons are a lot better balanced this time around. There's not really a weapon in this game that can outright replace the Mega Buster. I don't use every weapon in the game, but I think each weapon is useful in their own ways, like Spark Shock being able to freeze enemies in midair. That's really useful, especially against these big eye wannabes. Also, an interesting thing about Hard Knuckle is that if you press up or down on the D-pad when the knuckle is moving, it goes up or down. So try not to immediately slide after using Hard Knuckle. Also, Search Snake is also useful too if there's an enemy waiting for you and it's on a higher elevation than you are. Every weapon in this game is unique and useful in its own way. Also, I love the music in this game. I low-key forgot how much of a bop Sparkman's theme is. I also find Proto Man's theme to be very peaceful, albeit very melancholy. Mega Man 3 is a great NES game, let alone a great Mega Man game. Its levels are great, and the difficulty of this game doesn't really eliminate any kind of genuine fun you can have while playing this game. The artwork of this game is very nicely done and polished, and I would even say that the artwork in this game still holds up to today. I also like how they added a small lighting effect by creasing the edges of the blocks in this game with white light. It's very subtle, but I honestly really like that small detail. The game's music is very memorable too. Proto Man's whistle will continue to be a staple sound in the Mega Man games for years to come. Before you even see Proto Man come, you hear that whistle and you already know that that's Proto Man. The weapons are a lot more balanced this time around, and they're all very useful. Doc Robot is a very unique concept, and he's very interesting to fight too. I still remember going to fight Doc Robot for the first time and seeing Metal Man's soul delve into Doc Robot's body and saying with a shocked look on my face, "Metal Man?" I find Mega Man 3 to be a pretty memorable game. I also find the story to be pretty interesting too. Also, something that I'd like to point out that I think this game did better than the past two Mega Man games is having better box art. It's still not the best box art in the world, but at least Mega Man looks recognizable here. So with all that being said, I give Mega Man 3 for the NES a 5-star rating. Next time we will be reviewing Mega Man 4. The review for that game will most likely be out on New Year's Eve, so please stay subscribed for that. If you're not already subscribed, please do. It really helps me out, and you can always change your mind. But once again, thank you for the support on the videos. Please leave a like or leave a dislike, and thanks for watching.